Good evening and welcome to the Monday, June 15th, 2026 session of Lake Forest City Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Certainly. Honorable Mayor Tack,
Here.
Alderman Novit. Here. Alderman Clements.
Here.
Alderman Powers.
Here.
Bear. Here. Alderman Bothfeld.
Here.
Alderman Walther.
Here.
Alderman Culbertson.
Present.
For note, Alderman Lavert is absent. Mr. Mayor, you have
Thank you. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. The first item on the agenda this evening is a resolution of appreciation for retiring media specialist William Schellhaus. I'm going to read the resolution and then we'll have a presentation. Whereas William A. Schellhaus has been a dedicated and valued employee and contractor of the City of Lake Forest since May 1st, 2009, and whereas William A. Schellhaus will honorably retire from the city on June 15th, 2026 after more than 17 years of loyal and distinguished service, and whereas Bill's patience, dependability, and support during meetings, location shoots, and community events were greatly appreciated, his work leaves an exceptional legacy to the history and events captured through his lens, and whereas Bill maintained the city's audiovisual system, broadcasting capabilities, and assisted staff in navigating the technology that supports our transparency to the community, and whereas throughout his career, Bill spent countless hours listening to board and commission meetings, sometimes for hours and hours, and whereas Bill's quiet, humble approach to his responsibilities behind the scenes and out of the spotlight exemplifies the traditions of the city organization. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Lake Forest that the council, on behalf of the administration and residents of the community, hereby expresses its deep appreciation and sincere gratitude to William A. Schellhaus for his years of service and commitment to the city of Lake Forest, and be it further resolved that this resolution be appropriately inscribed and conveyed to Bill and spread upon the permanent record of the Lake Forest City Council. May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Okay. The next thing I'd like to address is the upcoming Independence Day weekend celebration. It is approaching very, very quickly. As you know, the City of Lake Forest is joining communities across the nation to celebrate America's 250th anniversary, and we have an amazing lineup of events for the Independence Day weekend. Starting with Bites on Bank Food Festival on Thursday, July 2nd, traditional fireworks on Saturday, July 4th. There's things for everybody to do. There will also be, if I'm not mistaken, weather permitting, an ice cream event down at the beach on Sunday. And on Friday, there's an event at Elua, and I understand that the vendors at the beach are planning a barbecue event as well. So there are all kinds of goodies coming up. So I appreciate everybody taking some time and the family to go out and enjoy these events. The committee that put this together really did a lot of work, and I think it'll be a great time. All right, the next item on the agenda is comments by City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of City Council. Good evening. I have two items under my report. First, under tonight's Community Spotlight, I'm pleased to welcome Croya Manager Todd Nahigian up to the podium. Todd's here this evening to share some updates about all the exciting things that are happening at Croya I'll ask him to recognize his staff. Most of them are here in attendance as well. And he's also here to recognize the winner of this year's Margot Martino essay contest. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Todd.
Thank you, Jason, Mr. Mayor, and Alderman. It's always exciting to be here. I contact Biddy in the office and say it's the third Monday in June. I think we're on our way. So this is very exciting for us. Some highlights from the Croya year. Yes, it has been busy. It's been exciting. We have definitely had a wonderful year, not only in the schools, but outside the schools in the programs that we've been doing. We have a goal that we typically have 350 to 375 different programs and meetings per year. We went over 400 for this particular fiscal year with approximately 10,000 participants across those 400 programs. And after school drop-in hours, Monday through Friday, we are open for a couple hours each day after school. Mondays is a little bit longer because Deer Path gets out earlier. We had approximately 3,000 students attend our after-school drop-in hours. So the amount of things that we're doing and the amount of time that we're spending with these kids is outstanding. We're excited to be here tonight. Our winner of the Margot Martino Essay Contest, the Spirit of Croya contest, is Kendall McCleary. And she's a graduating senior from Woodlands Academy. She was with our executive committee, the Woodlands liaison to Croya for the last 3 years. The essay is a very personal account, and she wasn't is interested in speaking in front of a big crowd, so we do have a staff member reading it tonight. But I've got a couple other things I want to share. These are some of the social programs that we've been doing lately. If you look, you see the Croya meetings in the top in the middle. We spend time playing dodgeball. We have a giant obstacle course called the Meltdown. This was our first time ever playing slip and slide kickball, where you had to slide into the bases into pools. And that's very typical of the kind of fun that Croya is having these days. This was our Donut Bowl football game, which we've been doing since the 90s. Football with the police department to make sure that we are breaking down those stereotypes between officers and youth. We also do a donut cup floor hockey with the middle school, and we just had that in April. These are some of our summer events. We'll be marching in the parades for both Lake Forest Day and 4th of July for Lake Bluff. And then on Tuesday, August 4th, we'll be having our band jam at the Lake Forest Day Band Jam stage and at the carnival, just as we've always done. And really excited to be able to provide the music again for an awesome night of music. This was a fun thing that we've done recently. It's called Girls Night In, run by our middle school youth worker, Leslie Bruning. Basically, the kids get to come and they have all sorts of activities that they do. You can see Eileen Weber on the right. She brought a number of flowers in for a demonstration, and a bunch of the girls really appreciated it, and she's been part of a couple different programs that we've done recently at Croya. Our other staff are Rick Day, our program manager, and Catherine Lenizik, who's going to be reading the essay tonight. Sophie Lupini is our newest Croya Service and Leadership staff member. You may not know this, but we actually lost this position in 2010, shortly after the economy collapsed. And it's taken us 16 years, and we're back. And this is her first day of her end of probation, and now she is a full-fledged staff member. So we are back to full staff after almost a decade and a half. So we're very excited. We also have Chris Carr, our board chair, here tonight with her son Matthew. Matthew's one of our longest standing members, and then Tate Upham, one of our current students. So we have a lot of fun things going on. These are pictures from our retreat, most recently in the spring, where we went to Camp Henry Horner with 90 students over the weekend. An amazing time for students to get to know each other, build relationships, and realize at the end of the day, you're never alone with the things that you're struggling with, that students can be supportive to each other, but also know that Croya is a place that they can go as well when they're struggling with any issues. These are a few of the recent service projects that we've provided. Definitely a lot of community service being done recently with our new hire of Sophie. We've got a number of groups that we've been helping, whether it be Kiwanis or Fill a Heart for Kids or the Orphans of the Storm or raising money for breast cancer research. So there's a lot of things that we're doing, not only within the community, but outside the community as well. And then, of course, the music, the jams, the Battle of the Bands, the open jams, all the different fun things that we're doing. That has really been one of our top things with our basement studios, knowing that kids really love music, and some of the quality of the music that the kids are putting out these days is pretty amazing. And we'll get to have you see that not only in the parades, but on the Lake Forest Band Jam event. Our fundraising this year has been pretty exciting. We close to $14,000 in sales of our poinsettias this year. The picture on the right features some students with Dr. Jean Hotchkiss, who actually passed away shortly after we were here last year. A longtime mentor of mine and one of the people we consider one of the 3 Croya founders, and we'll miss him very much. This is from our recent recognition dinner where we honored the new students that are going to be our executive students for the next year. There's 24 kids, students from Lake Forest and Lake Bluff, all high school students that run our youth committee. And then Kendall is pictured here with 2 of our staff holding her check from the Croya Foundation for winning the essay contest. One thing I'd like to also add is in the last 3 or 4 months, we've received grants from the Granger Foundation and the Fred B. Snite Foundation. You may recognize those names. $25,000 from each of those toward the Croya Foundation. Some things that I've been working on closely with Chris Carr, our board chair, to basically open the doors to some of this larger funding from outside sources. And it potentially are going to be grants that we can reapply for in the future. So it's a nice revenue stream that looks like it's opening up. Now I'd like to ask Catherine Lynn Isaac to come up and be able to read the essay that Kendall wrote for us. We were able to hear it at our recognition dinner in May, and I think you're gonna like it.
This is Kendall's essay titled Community. When I first came to Croya, I was terrified. It was the last round of exec elections, and I didn't know a single person there who wasn't an adult. I remember being so overwhelmed by the number of people there. I kind of just wanted to hide in a corner. Instead, I took a deep breath and walked through the crowd of unfamiliar faces to the few people I did know, Catherine and Leslie. They both greeted me, and I immediately knew I'd be all right. The second I stepped on stage, I was scared. I grew up on the stage, whether it was singing, dancing, or giving a speech, but it had never been in front of a crowd full of strangers. When I got off the stage, people I had never met came up to me to congratulate me and compliment me on my confidence. This moment was where it all clicked. I didn't have to be terrified of new experiences. Trying new things and meeting new people was far more fun than I thought. It was okay to be vulnerable. I could be myself and still have friends. That's just a few lessons Croya taught me that night. That was a little over 3 years ago. I have changed significantly as a person, even in this short amount of time. Junior year, as many would likely agree, took the biggest toll on me. By the end of the first week, I was beyond stressed academically and socially, and I had seriously begun to consider taking my own life. I'm very open about how much I've struggled with my mental health. I believe it is necessary to spread awareness about how invisible it can be. I am often seen as a very happy, goofy person, but we all have our secrets. My secret, the depression I suppressed and ignored for years, was gaslighting myself that everything was okay. It wasn't okay. I wasn't okay. No matter how hard I tried to convince myself otherwise. On September 4th, 2024, I was hospitalized at Highland Park Hospital. After getting out 8 days after, I had to attend a program daily. Think school, but instead of learning math, you're learning how to handle your negative feelings. I went for a month, unable to see any of my friends. Every week out of school, stuck at home, Croya had become one of the only things I actually looked forward to. After not being able to socialize for so long, I realized how much I missed it. Every Wednesday night activity helped me become myself again. I learned the importance of our community here. If I were to describe the youth of Croya, I'd talk about their unconditional love. I've never had to answer the awkward question of why I wasn't at the meeting the week prior, or worried about being judged for the scars on my arm. Without Croya, my recovery would have been brutal and strung out, but the joy I felt each time I had a small conversation with someone was unimaginable. The people I've met these past years have meant so much to me. Without the support of the people around me, I might not have recovered. Croya was the reason I kept going when everything else around me was falling apart. I pushed myself to keep going, one Wednesday at a time. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. We're all moved by Kendall's essay back in May, and I hope that you were as well tonight, which shared her meaningful experience with Croya over her high school years. Youth who grow up in Lake Forest and Lake Bluff have so many things going for them. We know that. There's resources, there's support systems, there's great schools. There's a lot of people in this community that want kids to thrive. But when times get tough and youth need somewhere to turn, they have Croya. And we have you to thank, the community to thank, and all the families that are excited about being part of what we do. Thank you for continuing to make Croya an incredible priority for the youth and the families of Lake Forest. Thank you for including Croya tonight as the community spotlight. If you have any questions, I would be glad to take them now.
Are there any questions for Todd? Comments? I just like to say, you know, from a distance, it's really remarkable what that program does. And I'm so impressed with you and the staff and perhaps more of the kids, what they do for each other. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and really an honor to be here tonight. Definitely appreciate all the support. Thanks. Oh, we have T-shirts.
All right.
All right, thank you, Todd. Bit hard to follow that up, but we'll try. The second item under my report is our annual update on the city's 2025 through 2030 strategic plan. As the council knows, advancing the goals within the strategic plan continues to be identified by all of you as a top priority for the organization, and it really serves as the framework that guides all of the work that the city staff do. And so this evening, we're pleased to be able to share progress on what has occurred over the last fiscal year, and also meaningful initiatives that are planned for the upcoming fiscal year. I will emphasize again that this update really reflects the City Council's vision and also the ongoing efforts of the city staff to turn that vision into meaningful results for the community. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to staff in a minute, but I will just note for the council and for the community that, similar to last year, to provide a broader perspective on this work, we've asked individuals from different departments to provide a brief update on each priority category. And you'll see some new presenters this evening, which is really a reflection of our commitment to continued staff development. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Finance's Mark Kragaris to kick it off for us. Mark?
Make sure this is on. Thank you, Jason. To kick things off, as part of the city's strategic plan, fiscal stewardship remains a core focus, guiding our efforts to maintain financial stability, improve operations, and plan the city's long-term needs. This slide looks back at some of the key accomplishments for the FY26. To start, to help fund the new police renovation, the Finance Department issued $19 million in bonds while maintaining the city's AAA bond rating. This reflects the city's strong financial position and responsible financial management. In addition to supporting major capital projects, the city continues to improve customer service and operating efficiencies. Earlier this year, the parking permits were transitioned from a physical hang tag to an electronic license-based system. This change made the process more convenient for both the residents and streamlined administration for our users. Building off those service improvements, the city also improved new credit card merchant accounts for Deer Path Golf Course and Recreation. These enhancements improved payment processing reliability and provided a more seamless experience for the customer. And now looking ahead to the FY27 initiatives, the city will be moving its BSNA financial software from a host environment to a cloud-based platform. This transition will enhance security, reduce IT maintenance needs, and provide a more modern and efficient experience for both user, staff, and customer. And then beyond that, the technology improvements, the city will continue to strengthen its long-term financial planning through a comprehensive water system study. The results will provide a data-driven foundation for future rate setting and help ensure the long-term financial stability of the water system. And finally, the city is reviewing its purchasing policies to ensure thresholds, procedures, improvement requirements reflect the current marketplace as well as our peer communities. This effort will modernize the framework that guides how the city procures its goods and services while supporting transparency, efficiency, and accountability. And now I will pass it to Matt Brigioni in Public Works.
Thanks, Mark, and good evening, City Council. Let's go over some FY26 highlights through the Public Works and city facilities. We completed multiple infrastructure project and design studies such as West Park Tennis Courts, Deer Path and Bank Lane Streetscape, Forest Park Playground. We have also worked with city staff to reassign all Central Business District public parking spaces and lots. Moving forward to FY27, we're completing design studies such as South Park, Awincia popular storm sewer design, and we all know the construction is underway at Waukegan intersection and enhancements. That is slated to be completed late August of this year. We are also working with Strand Associates on the water distribution study system, so look forward to some more information on that. That being said, I'd like to pass it on to Conrad with the Police Department.
Good evening. I'm Commander Christensen with the Police Department. In terms of the fiscal year, the past fiscal year, some of the highlights that we wanted to include in tonight's presentation, we launched an interactive crime map on the city's website, and the chief told me earlier today that it's getting quite a bit of traffic, so we're really happy about that. It's a rolling 12-month interactive webpage that allows citizens to view our crime stats and our self-initiated field activity in the community. It's real time, and it's a 12-month sort of rolling average, which is accessible on the website. Really easy to use. I found it very easy to use and easily accessible, and we feel like it really increases transparency for citizens and anyone who wants to look at our police department and what we do on a daily basis. We really got aggressive in fiscal year 2026 with our grant and trying to secure as many grants as we can to kind of highlight our fiscal stewardship for the city in terms of the strategic plan. Some of the grants that we successfully got from the state and or the federal level were a recruitment and retention grant, which was really great. I can personally attest that I really appreciated that the chief was aggressive in his pursuing of that grant. We also did we also got an IDOT STEP grant, which is traffic enforcement. We pay officers to come in on extra time to do extra traffic enforcement for DUI, seatbelt, cell phone enforcement, which I think is really great. We secured a retail theft grant, which helped us get some additional flock cameras for the Central Business District, and I can't emphasize enough how much flock cameras really help us solve crimes after they occur. They really are a great tool for us in law enforcement, one of the game changers the last few years in our profession. And then lastly, we secured a grant from Senator Julie Morrison related to drone equipment, which again I think is a great tool for us to better serve the community and enhance our public safety abilities. In terms of the last thing in fiscal year 2026, we streamlined our hiring process. We changed our Police and Fire Commission rules to be a little bit more agile, a little bit more reactive in terms of attracting good candidates and retaining good candidates. And so as of today, we are at full staff, 41 out of 41, and we're really looking strong in terms of the officers we've recently hired. So that has been a great thing for our police department. In fiscal year 2027, so looking ahead, obviously, I think some of you know about our new building that we're going to be moving into on Field Court. We are super excited about that, and obviously that's going to take up a lot of our time. over the course of the next year. We're working towards accreditation also through ILEAP, which is the Illinois Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. And we're working with city and community partners on increased parking enforcement in the Central Business District. That's obviously a huge project that we're getting off the ground this year. Just a couple more things. A new canine officer is going to be starting in September, and we're continuing emphasis on active overnight patrols to reduce crime opportunities for people, for residents in the community. So that's everything for the police department. I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Chief Roberts from the fire department.
Thank you, Commander Christensen. A couple of things just to cover real quickly with the FY26 highlights. I believe Commander Christensen already talked about the police are going to be finding a new home, so that gives us an opportunity here for the to create a fire station, dedicated fire station for us. Part of the FY26 highlights were also the approval of additional personnel. We're going to be transitioning from 10 people per shift to 11 people per shift. We've also, along with the assistance and some of the creativity used by the police department, we too were able to change the Board of Police and Fire Commissioners rules to be able to streamline our hiring process, which has left us with only one vacancy left to fill. And we do have a candidate currently in the pipeline for that. We also did place a new ambulance in service. It's our new frontline ambulance at Station 1. Looking forward to fiscal year 27 is a continued partnership with the Lake Forest Hospital EMS system and the paramedic program. We also have a lot of candidates with the new influx of candidates that we have. We've had to send several of them to the Basic Operations Fire Academy. With that, once they get completed with that, there are several other classes they have to go to in order to meet the needs of the job. Past that, some of our more recent hires do need to go to advanced level training academies. So we'll be sending them with that, with some of the funding that's been allocated towards our training budgets for that. And then we are looking forward to placing a new fire engine in service sometime near the end of the summer. We do have an engine committee together that is working on the vehicle specs, and they've already gone out and seen it with the cab already built and everything, so everything is looking good for them. Now I'll pass it over to Haley in the rec department.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Roberts. Tonight I'll be speaking about recreation and community well-being, which focuses on identifying opportunities to enhance recreational programs and facilities so that we can better serve the needs and interests of Lake Forest residents. Perfect. In fiscal year 26, we saw really strong participation across our recreation program with over 9,000 recreation program registrants throughout the year, which includes a wide range of programs such as dance, summer camps, athletics, sailing, and more. We see that residents continue to see value in these programs and that recreation remains an important part of community life here in Lake Forest. We also saw meaningful growth in youth engagement through Croya, whose peer training program was expanded to all freshmen, reaching over 300 students across 12 classrooms. This partnership highlights the strength of our public school system and the value of working together to support students not only academically, but also socially and emotionally as well. Another highlight is Dickinson Hall Senior Center, which increased its new member enrollment by 8.3% in fiscal year 26 and now serves more than 1,000 members. That growth is especially important because Dickinson Hall provides opportunities for social connection, lifelong learning, wellness, and engagement for older adults in the community. And finally, we made a practical but meaningful facility improvement by installing water bottle filling stations at park facilities. As we look ahead into fiscal year 27, the focus is on building on that momentum, improving the resident experience, expanding community celebrations, and beginning some longer-term planning for the future of our Parks and Recreation program. One of the first initiatives for FY27 is enhancing the beach concession experience. We have a new vendor, Full Deli Belly, who will be providing expanded food offerings and more flexible hours. We're also preparing for expanded Independence Day festivities in celebration of America's 250th anniversary. Rather than a single-day event, this will be a multi-day community celebration, including Bites on Banks, the LOL Farm Dinner, the Festival and Fireworks, and the Ice Cream Social. This gives residents several different ways to participate, whether they're looking for food, family activities, fireworks, or more casual community gatherings. Another major initiative is that in the fall of 2026, we will begin the multi-year process of updating the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, which was last updated in 2019. We're excited about this opportunity to evaluate current facilities and programs, gather community input, and think strategically about how Parks and Recreation can continue to meet resident needs in the years ahead. And now I'd love to introduce Louise from Community Development.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, preserving community character is an ongoing process, and it's a part of everything this city does. It's not just for new development, but it's also for infrastructure. So anything from streets to street lights, parks, parkway plantings, it all contributes to community character. The boards and commissions, which are all composed by citizens of Lake Forest, which you've appointed, who put hundreds of hours towards 90 petitions over this last year, took time with each of those petitions to balance public interests with private interests while focusing on preserving community character. Of those 90 petitions, 30 of them were new homes. And that's significant because this city is mostly built out. And with each of those homes, not all of them were on lots with a house already there. Some of them were on vacant lots in which each of those houses that was demolished, those homes lived out their useful lives. And all of those homes that were put into place were reviewed by the boards and commissions to ensure that those homes were compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods. The boards and commissions and advisory groups also played a key role in some of our public buildings, including the new police headquarters, including modifications to the public safety building, and also the restoration of the library courtyards. Being an almost built-out community means ensuring new development and redevelopment builds on traditions of the past while being open to new ideas, all part of the process here in Lake Forest. Looking forward, we'll be building on successful enhancements that have already taken place along the Bank Lane pedestrian corridor, with the new development of Bank Lane, the next design development phase. I'd also like to mention that BSNA Cloud will be implemented. That's our permitting software. And that's important because it'll allow for enhancements to permitting processing, so it'll become more efficient. It's helpful with reporting capabilities and to allow city inspectors while out in the field to result their inspections so homeowners know immediately. And finally, boards and commissions continue to look at new construction methods and evolving materials, and we'll also have an area of focus on lighting guidelines and regulations over this next year. I'd like to now invite Susan Thomas, my colleague from Community Development, for Economic Vitality.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The economic vitality of the community is very strong, and it has been strong since the pandemic at both the residential level as well as in our business districts. The demand for the residential market is very strong for both the single-family homes, whether they be small homes, large homes, historic homes, teardowns, or new builds on vacant property. There is a strong demand for residences, but also at the multifamily level. We are seeing a demand for both renter-occupied as well as owner-occupied. Most recently, multifamily homes were completed on the perimeter of the Central Business District. And that only goes to support the fact that the business districts are very robust and very economically successful. At the moment, there has been an increased vitality that we've seen in all business districts, and I think in large part that can also be complemented by the fact that the parking regulations that the City Council just reinstituted by pushing some of the employee parking to the perimeter and focusing on opening up the spots in front of businesses and restaurants for the patrons to use was really in response to the fact that we do have such a robust business district. We're also seeing a demand for restaurants to offer a variety of foods and different experiences, as well as outdoor dining. And that goes along with what we've seen for the redevelopment of Bank Lane. As Louis, my colleague, just mentioned, the phase 1 has just ended, but we are working with businesses and restaurants in activating and coming up with some programs to really activate that space. Our local hospital just completed its recent expansion of the ER. It is the largest employer within the community, and it is bringing a lot of people to the city. And as that's happening, we are working with the hospital closely for the continued redevelopment as that campus will continue to develop going on in the years forward. The office market, despite a slowdown of the office market nationwide, is actually rather strong for the city of Lake Forest. Conway Park has just, within the recent years, welcomed Consumers Bank Credit Union, as well as the Lake County Regional Educational Office. Most recently took occupancy. But projects under construction right now include Aldridge Electric, which is going to be their new corporate headquarters, and then as well, the police headquarters for the city. Looking forward, the focus is really going to be on enhancing our wireless services. Not only does that go to the needs of the residents, but that directly supports the business needs and interests of our community. So that's going to be a focus of ours going forward, as well as working closely with developers, property owners, in the redevelopment of some of our longstanding prominent sites, and making sure that we're providing as much support as possible with proposals that come forward. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to Jack in Communications, who will be speaking about community engagement. Thank you.
I'm Jack. I'm the new multimedia communications coordinator for the city, and I'm here to give an update on community engagement. In FY26, we hosted over 30 engagement events and public meetings totaling over 2,700 attendees. Additionally, we increased our city's weekly newsletter to 13,644 subscribers, which is up 1,350 from the last fiscal year. We've also conducted many engaging education efforts for the new parking rules in the Central Business District on social media, through flyers and our e-news. If you follow the city on social media, you will have noticed that there's quite a bit more video content than before. And this is a goal that we had this year, and it's something that we're going to continue to do to connect with residents, businesses, services, and events that are going on in the city. One example of this is our Bites on Bank Spotlight series, where we feature the restaurants and vendors that are going to be participating in Bites on Bank in 2 weeks, and that's been very successful. Our communications team has also been partnering with the REC and OCM to promote the America 250 celebrations, Independence Day weekend events, and more. Later this fiscal year, we're also going to be promoting engagement opportunities for the Parks and Rec Master Plan. Finally, another initiative this year is updating the REC website to make integration with RecTrack smoother, so residents can more easily sign up their children for programs. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jason for our conclusion.
Okay, thanks, Jack, and to the rest of the staff team. Thank you to council again for your vision in developing the strategic plan. There was a lot of information presented, but really it was just a high-level summary of all of the accomplishments and achievements that have happened over the last year. And so I encourage all of you, and for the public at large watching this, the full 22-page summary of FY26 accomplishments was included both in the council packet and it's available on the city's website. So with that, any of the staff would be happy to answer questions if there are any.
Any comments or questions for staff? Alderman Powers?
Thank you, everybody. And City Manager Wisha, thank you for your guidance and leadership on this. I know George Isaku spent a lot of time going back 2 years ago putting this plan together. And Jason and I spent a lot of time talking about this. It's a perfect roadmap based upon the input from the community, and we had over 1,900 respondents that weighed in on what they felt our priorities should be and how we align those. And it's fantastic to see how quickly we start accomplishing those tasks. And I would only end my comments with, oftentimes at town halls or other conversations, people would say, to me and many of us sitting up here, hey, if you had one thing to share, what would you share with the community? And my answer is, we've got the best city staff that makes this job so easy, and working with you guys is so energizing because it's always about how can we solve a problem and how can we improve service? And people feel that in the community. You don't have to go very far. You can walk around this neighborhood and see all the great things that have happened. Some of it's unsexy, right? The infrastructure stuff and, doing water mains and all those types of things. But just the feel of our town walking through is fantastic. And we owe all you guys the credit for that. So thank you for taking the time to share all those updates with us. Appreciate it.
Others? All righty.
If not, that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, the next item on the agenda is opportunity for citizens to address the council on non-agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to address the council? Seeing none, we will move on to committee reports. The first report is from the Finance Committee. This will be presented by Katie Skibby, Finance Director. Consideration of the annual appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2027 and approval of rollovers. First reading.
All right, thank you, Honorable Mayor Tack. Tonight you have before you the first reading of the 2027 appropriations ordinance. The public hearing and the second reading will be held at the July 20th City Council meeting. This is consistent with statutory notice and publication requirements. The appropriation ordinance is the legal spending limit for the city in the fiscal year. It sets the maximum amount that the city can spend from each fund and is the formal legal instrument that backs the budget that the City Council approved in April. The budget is the instrument that we use to make our decisions. It drives every purchase, staffing decision, and project decision that the city makes, while the appropriation ordinance simply establishes the legal boundary that sits above the budget to ensure that we have adequate spending authority. Because the appropriation ordinance is the legal ceiling rather than the spending plan, its dollar figures intentionally differ from the budget in several ways. So first, there is a standard 10% contingency that is added to every fund in the appropriation ordinance. This contingency ensures that the city does not exceed its spending authority if unanticipated needs arise during the year, and allows us to proceed with non-budgeted expenditures with City Council approval. Exceeding the appropriation would require a supplemental ordinance, so this contingency preserves flexibility while keeping the city compliant. Second, the appropriation ordinance excludes debt service. Debt service is authorized through the bond ordinances that are approved with each bond issuance. And so including it here would duplicate the spending authority that the City Council has already provided. Additionally, the library's budget is included in the appropriation ordinance, but not included in our formal budget. And lastly, the School District 67's budget is also included. As a special charter district, District 67 is tied to the city's corporate charter, which requires their budget to be included in our appropriation ordinance. The district approves its own budget independently, and including it in our appropriation ordinance is really a legal formality, rather required by charter. It doesn't actually show that we have any authority over District 67's budget. District 67's budget is not in the first reading, but you will see it in July in the second reading. And then the first reading does not yet include rollovers. So rollovers are items that were appropriated in the prior fiscal year that either weren't started or weren't completed in the prior fiscal year. So because that work is still outstanding, we carry those funds forward into this next appropriation so that the spending authority remains in place. These are not new appropriations. They are previously approved funds that are just being continued into the next fiscal year. You don't see them tonight, but at the July 20th meeting for the second reading, you will have a complete detailed schedule of all the rollovers from the prior year. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Director Skibby? Yes, Alderman Walter.
Thank you. Just one, Director Skibby. In section 3 of the ordinance, it says that the funds derived from sources other than the 2025 tax levy, and then it goes on. I don't understand. I need some clarification. Why is the 2025 tax levy the monies that are collected in 26 and then are applied to the 27 fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I answered my own question, but you can.
Yes, it's very confusing.
Thank you. And then just one other small item. The fiber fiber installation fund, is that a new fund that you created just for this year?
It is a new fund. We created that similar to the Lake Forest Hospital Fund, where we wanted to make sure that we were tracking all revenue expenses from the fiber installation. And then once that project is done, we'll close the fund.
Okay, so just, there's a typo in the
okay.
ordinance. It says total amount appropriated from the flex fund under that item.
Okay.
Thank you. No more.
Alderman Cara.
Just a informational question. School District 67 is listed as a special charter district.
Yes.
What does that designation mean and why do they have it?
So, School District 67, and I might not get this 100% correct, I believe was chartered in something like 1867. It was chartered so early that it was chartered directly with the state of Illinois, unlike more recent districts which are chartered under a different statute. So that is why it's a very unique situation that we approved their appropriation ordinance.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much, Director Skibby. All right, the next thing is a motion to approve the first reading of the fiscal year 2027 appropriation ordinance. A copy of this is available for review by public in the city clerk's office. Public hearing will be conducted on July 20th, 2026 in conjunction with the second reading of the ordinance. May I have a motion to approve the first reading of the 2027 appropriation ordinance?
So moved. Seconded.
This will be a roll call vote.
Alderman Culbertson?
Aye.
Alderman Novit?
Aye.
Alderman Clemmons?
Aye.
Alderman Powers?
Aye.
Alderman Kerr?
Aye.
Alderman Bothfeld?
Aye.
Alderman Walter?
Aye.
7 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Very good. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Environmental Sustainability Committee. For this, I'd like to introduce Alderman Nick Bothfeld, the chair of the ESC.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow aldermen. We had our quarterly meeting, June 2nd, 2026, and I'd like to share a few highlights from that the committee's recent work. You've heard a little bit about these from some of the other folks. We recently approved the purchase of 8 bottle fill stations for various city parks and Everett, Norcroft, Elua, et cetera. They've been installed by Public Works, and I've had the opportunity to see it in action over at Elua, and it's awesome. including the little dog dish down below, which all the pups out there enjoy. But it makes it very simple for people to use refillable bottles and cut down on all of our plastic as much as possible while they're enjoying the parks. The committee also collaborated with Parks and Rec, and you heard a little bit about that. We're to consider the installation of bike repair stations along our bike paths. These stations include tools and tire pumps for handling all the simple repairs and encourage area residents to utilize environmentally friendly transportation and enjoy our incredibly beautiful bike paths that have all been resurfaced and rehabbed. So it's a wonderful thing. The committee recommended moving forward with this project, and the staff will work to purchase and install these stations this summer. Special shout out to Alderman Novit, who championed this idea and moved it forward in the past year. Also, I'll just mention, there's a side note that we had updates on SWALCO, Waste Not, and MC2. All those programs are in great shape moving forward, hitting their targets, so we're very pleased with that. As we look to the future, the committee has identified 2 priorities we'd like to consider. First, we'd like to acknowledge our support for the work we know other boards and commissions are doing to update our lighting ordinance. The ordinance was last updated in 2015 and is now being reviewed by the Building Review Board and I understand HPC. Kathy and I have been in contact and we'll work closely to coordinate, but we wholeheartedly unanimously support all those efforts and want to consider the environmental impact of lighting and incorporate all those aspects into their analysis. The second priority is related to the city's sustainability plan. The plan was drafted in 2016 in collaboration with the Lake Forest Collaborative for Environmental Leadership and focused on 5 categories: stormwater management, water use, ecosystem vitality and ravine conservation, waste management, renewable energy and energy efficiency, and transportation and air quality. As it's been in place for 10 years, the committee would like to do the following. One, we'd like to review the plan to identify the city's accomplishments, which we believe to be substantial, over the past 10 years and provide a report to City Council. And 2, identify aspects of the plan that may no longer be relevant, and 3, identify opportunities for project ideas to be added to the plan. Much has changed in the past 10 years, and we want to make sure everything is updated. Our recommended first step is to have the staff review the plan and report to the council on those accomplishments to date before moving for additional update work. So we're seeking the council feedback regarding our interest in these items and would be happy to answer any questions the group has.
Questions or comments for Alderman Bothfeld? Alderman Clemmons?
I've got a quick question on the Skokie bike path. It's maintained by the city of Lake Forest, but also the county. Would you be putting a repair station on that bike path? That's the one out by you.
Yeah, no,
We were going to put one on the 41 bike path near South Park.
Yeah.
And then a
And the
second
other one
was
by the-
gonna go on the west side.
I thought we just talked about the train station.
No, that's the third one.
That's the
This is
third one.
third one.
Okay.
But the first one definitely was part of the South Park rehab, the master plan.
Yeah.
And then the other one on the Skokie bike path.
So I'm happy to clarify.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, jumped right in.
That
was all.
So a couple separate things. There was a bike repair station approved as part of the South Park rehab project. The 2 that ESC was looking at are separate. And one was going to go at the train station on the east side of town, and one was going to go near the Deer Path overpass. The overpass at Deer Path on the west side of town. Mm-hmm.
That's the Skokie bike path, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes. So ultimately, we will have 3 in town, 2 of which were funded by the sustainability money.
Okay.
I knew we had one over there.
Very good.
Very good. Other comments or questions?
Just a question on the bike repairs. How do you access them and make sure they still remain there after people have used them?
We talked about that. Carrie, I'll let Carrie tell you a little bit more about it, but we wanted to make sure that they were would not be vandalized or have problems, and I think we found the right firm to do that.
Yeah, so we have worked with both Lake Bluff and Highland Park, who already own these repair stations. We also got the recommendation from Hitchcock Group, which is doing the South Park design for this specific model that we chose. All of the tools are connected to the repair station with these cables that are incredibly difficult to vandalize or steal from. And the entire mechanism is bolted into the ground. So the tools are all on those cables, and you can pull them out. Your bike can hang on the rack so that you can use the tools, and the cord stretches enough for you to be able to repair your bike, but not to take the tool with you when you leave.
And they also come with air pumps, which are
very good,
wholly contained.
Yes.
And don't require any outside.
Yes, there's a
materials in order for them to operate.
Yeah, the pressure gauge is on the pump, so you can see the volume that you've pumped your tire up, and you're ready to go.
Thanks, I'll have to go take a look.
Yeah.
They're not in yet.
Other comments or questions for the ESC folks? Hearing none, thank you very much. Lovely report. All right. This time we will move on to the next item, which is items for omnibus vote consideration. There are 11 items this evening. And as always, if there are any items that the alderman would like removed or taken separately, please let me know after we've read all of the items. Item number 1, approval of Monday, June 1st, 2026 City Council meeting minutes. Item 2, approval of resolutions required for bank purposes to amend authorized signers on city bank accounts. Item 3, approval of a 2-year contract extension with Lake Forest Bank and Trust for banking services to June 30th, 2028. Item 4, approval of a 1-year contract extension with OpenGov for transparency and open data software in the amount of $26,134. Item 5, approval of purchase of replacement police department vehicles to Kaiser Ford in the amount of $94,000. Item 6, approval of purchase of a replacement front load sanitation section truck to Trans Chicago Truck Group, the chassis, in the amount of $240,000, and McQueen Group, the body, the amount of $286,594 for a grand total of $526,594, and the trade-in of the current 2016 autocar front load for $50,000 to the McQueen Group. Item 7, approval of a purchase for a streets section aero board replacement in the amount of $49,000 to Street Smart Rentals LLC. Item 8, approval of a purchase of a replacement city fuel management system to Stenstrom Petroleum Services in the amount of $58,600. Item 9, consideration of ordinances approving recommendations from the Building Review Board for 1241 Kaiser Lane, 1135 Windhaven Court, 320 Majestic Oak Court, and 255 West Deer Path. First reading if desired by council, final approval. Item 10, consideration of ordinances approving recommendations from the Zoning Board of Appeals for 437 North Green Bay Road, 200 North Ridge Road, and 301 Chiltern Drive. First reading and if desired by the City Council, final approval. And finally, consideration of ordinances approving recommendations from the Historic Preservation Commission in support of building scale variances for 437 North Green Bay Road and 161 North Sheridan Road. First reading as desired by council, final approval. Are there any items that the alderman would like removed or taken separately? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the 11 omnibus items as presented?
So moved.
Second.
This will be a roll call vote.
Alderman Clemmons.
Aye.
Alderman Powers.
Aye.
Alderman Kerr.
Aye.
Alderman Bosfeld.
Aye.
Alderman Walter.
Aye.
Alderman Culbertson.
Aye.
Alderman Novit.
Aye.
7 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Very good. The next item is old business, of which there is none this evening, followed by new business, of which there is none this evening. At this time, I'd like to ask the aldermen if there are any other items that they would like to make comment on or discuss this evening. All right, hearing none. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2 C11. The City Council will be discussing pending litigation. May I have a motion to adjourn into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second? All righty. Just of note, we will not be having any further business upon completion of the executive session. May I have the roll call vote, please?
Alderman Novit.
Aye.
Alderman Clement.
Aye.
Alderman Powers.
Aye.
Alderman Kerr.
Aye.
Alderman Bothfeld.
Aye.
Alderman Walther.
Aye.
Alderman Culbertson. 7 yea, 0 nay, motion carries.
Very good. Prior to official adjournment into executive session, I'd like to congratulate the staff on their presentations. Well done.